Hello, everybody, and welcome to Take Time for You Unlocking the Secrets for Self Care for Busy Women. I am your host, Charity Murphy, and today I have the great honor and pleasure of welcoming my friend, Bethany Putes. She is an ancestral and family healer and the owner and operator of Secret Sage Unleashed. Welcome, Bethany. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you, Charity. I'm so excited to be here.
This is going to be such an epic topic, especially for the time of year as all of us are leading into the holidays. And I'm sure some of you may be feeling the heightened anxiety of the holidays coming for many different reasons. And so this is going to be a very important and potent topic. So let's get into it.
All right, I'm ready.
So I really love, first, let's talk a little bit about what you do
Okay.
because
All
people
right.
might not know about this.
So I do ancestral healing work, and more I feel myself drawn to helping families kind of untangle the ancestral web of different things that they're dealing with. So many times, we can pick up traits from mom or dad and think, oh, well, it's just because it was from mom or dad, right?
Mhm.
But what we don't realize is that there are greater themes that run through a family that maybe are from grandparents, great grandparents, great, I mean, they can go back generations kind of thing. And we just don't realize because we didn't have the opportunity to be close to them, to observe and to witness more than, probably one or two generations back.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of fell into this work accidentally. I like to say it found me.
Yeah, I would love to know how.
Yeah. So I've always loved learning about ancient cultures, about especially when it came to ritual medicine, things like that. I was just fascinated by it. But it's one of those things that, as a kid, it's like, how do you make a career out of this kind of thing?
Yeah.
And so it kind of fell by the wayside. And then a few years ago, I found myself visiting the local metaphysical bookstore around the corner from my office at lunchtime.
Mhm.
And I would buy a couple of books and I would sneak them home in my backpack. And then I would sneak them into the closet. And, that was something, it was kind of like a guilty pleasure sort of thing that
Yeah.
stayed really hidden. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I literally brought the books out of the closet and put them on a bookshelf in my office and started to really kind of, outwardly embrace
Mhm.
this sort of thing. And it kind of snowballed. It just kind of, yeah, snowballed from there.
Wow, that is so fascinating. And so, just backing up a tiny bit, you said you were in your office. Do you work in an office doing ancestral healing, or what do you do for your day job?
So a friend of mine coined the term digital by day, woo woo by night,
I love
which is
that.
kind of how I describe myself at this point in time.
Yeah.
I feel like I have two very different sides. My day job is actually a business intelligence process mining manager, where I am the administrator of a process mining program. That's a different summit, totally,
Totally.
totally different topic. Very analytical.
Yeah.
And then, the side gig is the Sacred Sage Unleashed. And I got trained in Reiki and, just all of these kind of woo-woo sorts of things that are more on the energy healing side of things, and have really embraced that,
Mhm.
and hoping one of these days to make that a full-time gig.
There's no question about it. It's gonna happen, especially because
Yes.
you're putting it out there in front of all of our summit viewers.
Yes.
And also because it's such a topic that is very important that a lot of people are unaware of, and um, super magical. I haven't had personally had one of your healing sessions, but a mutual friend of ours can't stop talking about how amazing the sessions have been with you, and just so eye-opening. So uh, I'm sure there is just so much more we could talk about on that topic, but I really want to talk about from family tree to Christmas tree, which is the topic of um, our conversation today.
Yes, yes, I'm excited.
Ah, uh, can I?
So it doesn't seem like it seems like kind of a strange topic, right? Like, how do we get there?
No, I love it. It's not a strange topic at all because I'm really feeling it myself with the holidays coming up.
Mhm.
Just a little bit of a backstory. I was in the Target with my daughter yesterday, thinking about my mom. I had lost her 3.5 years ago, and every Christmas has been really hard since then, and I really miss her. And as I was walking through the Target, I was feeling a little bit like, why is all this Christmas stuff out? And just feeling kind of like, oh yeah, well, I remember one year my mom said she wasn't going to celebrate the holiday because she just wanted a day off, which I thought was weird at that time. But now I'm like, every year, I'm like, I just don't feel like celebrating. It just doesn't feel the same.
Mhm.
It went into like, oh, look at that nice little rug over there. That so would have been at my grandma's house. And then feeling sad, missing my grandma. And then realizing I need to turn this around. My child is missing out on Christmas because I feel sad and missing my family members that have passed on. So this is a topic that is very relevant for me right now.
Mhm. Absolutely. I think at this time of year, um, not that there aren't other times that we feel that void,
Mhm.
but I think, the idea of sitting around the tree and missing, a family member or missing the nostalgia of, what once was just kind of plucks at your heartstrings a little bit more than, maybe summertime or, things like that.
Yep, yep, yep. It sure does. It sure does. And so if this is sounding familiar to anyone listening, this is definitely for you. So, what made you decide to talk about this?
So this time of year, first of all, fall is my favorite season.
Mhm,
But I've come to realize that there is not only with the leaves falling and the cooler weather,
mhm,
there's an anticipation of going inward. There's an anticipation of kind of the coziness of what we call the dark half of the year. And the dark half of the year starts at the fall equinox, and goes until the spring equinox. And so these are the months, obviously the daylight time gets a little bit shorter. We kind of naturally go inward towards the hearth, inward, also towards our heart, inward in within ourselves if we allow it within our schedule. I mean, we're so scheduled these days that the natural slowing down period that
mhm,
our ancestors might have had,
mhm.
where the food is preserved, everything's kind of put up and it's just kind of a going inward to wait until spring. We don't have that as naturally anymore. Um, so I look forward to that. I find that a lot of inspiration, a lot of um, just new seeds get planted this time of year. There's more journaling, there's just more, kind of turning inward. And along with that, we've come through what Americans know as Halloween, which is actually the Celtic New Year, and it's called Samhain.
Mhm.
And during that time, the veil gets really thin between our world and the other world. And the other world is where the spirits, the energetic, echoes of our ancestors live. And
Mhm.
so when we come through that period, it makes it easier to be able to contact them if people are interested in kind of starting an ancestor relationship, and getting to be able to know them a little bit better and getting to be able to really, receive messages a little bit better. Um, so this actually came about as I was talking to somebody about setting up an ancestor altar
Mhm.
and how easy it is and how, starting in the fall seems to be a really good time to embrace that,
Mhm.
and how just kind of naturally I was explaining how you can set them up in different places and they don't have to be big ostentatious things. They can kind of hide in plain sight. And I used the Christmas tree as an example of one that really connects in for me. I grew up on a Christmas tree farm. And
Really?
so, yes,
Wow,
yes.
that's
So
magical.
it's magical. So
Mm.
for me, the whole fall season, helping people to get their trees. And I was out there with my brother, cutting them down and, you know, getting them to the car and doing all of that sort of stuff. And then in our house, the tree was the focal point. And we had ornaments that were passed down. We had ones that came off of grandma's tree and off of great grandma's tree. And I mean, these were like super delicate, right? You unwrapped them kind of holding your breath because they were fragile. And they went on the tree, and it just was kind of an ancestor altar in and of itself.
Mhm.
And then this year being the first Christmas that I'll celebrate without my dad, and it was his dream to have the Christmas tree farm. That was his baby. It really takes on kind of a new and fresh meaning.
Mhm.
And so that's how we get to, family tree to Christmas tree.
I love that so much. There's so much symbolism and meaning
Mhm.
behind it, especially for you. And wow, a Christmas tree farm. I can't imagine growing up on that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
That's amazing.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. I love Christmas trees anyway. But there was just something magical about growing up there and the first snow, the quiet hush of the snow falling on the trees and just walking out amongst them and just so much magic there.
Oh my gosh. So where did you grow up? What?
S- I grew up in Michigan, in southwestern Michigan.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. That's
Yes.
amazing. That's amazing. Um, so I'm really excited to learn more about this altar that we can all create. And I love how you said hiding in plain sight.
Mhm. Yes. I always, I think sometimes when the phrase ancestor altar is mentioned, people kind of get, can get a little like, ooh, I don't know if I want to devote half of my house to like, we think big altars with, a lot of paraphernalia on them where it has to take up a lot of space or it
Mm-hmm.
has to look religious or, something like that. And it does not need to be. It can be a quiet little corner. It can be a bookshelf. It can be just very simple. And it can be anything you want it to be, whatever has meaning to you. If it's a garden setting that has more meaning, with a little bird bath and, just a little area that reminds you of grandma or, whoever it is. I mean, it can really truly be whatever makes it special to the person, and it doesn't have to look like a specific kind of a thing.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I'm over here thinking, I have an ancestor altar and I didn't even realize it. So I never really thought about it. I have this little silver tray with an angel that my mom gave my daughter, um, maybe a year before she passed away. And then I have a picture and a couple little candles. And It's just, something special. And I never realized
Absolutely.
I have an ancestor altar.
There you go. There you go. You did
Oh, yeah. Who
it.
knew?
Absolutely. And the important part is that it's special to you.
Mhm.
Not that it has, people always ask me, how do I begin? What do I do?
Yeah.
What does it have to, I mean, I think people start kind of spinning their wheels about, oh my God, I have to do it right. It's whatever is special to you.
Mhm.
Um, and I tell people the simplest form
Mhm.
is a picture. So, like, for example, I have a picture of my grandparents here.
Love that.
And then I love to include a candle.
Mm. Yeah.
And I'll tell you why the
Mhm.
candle.
Yeah.
Um, Not only do we kind of think about keeping visual and burning the candle,
Mhm.
but also it helps to signal the ancestors when you light the candle, or
Mhm.
you can designate another signal if you want to, that this is the time to draw near, that this is the time that you're going to be listening, that you're going to be focusing,
Mhm.
that you're going to be in meditation, or whatever you want to call it. And it,
Mhm.
it acts as a signal to them that, okay, messages can more easily be received
Mhm.
when the candle is lighted.
I love that. And I love the dance of the flame. I think it really helps me get into a meditative space when I take that time to consciously focus on the flame because it's so magnetic and beautiful and calming. And I think having that intention with a picture and also the intention of connecting with your ancestors is a great reminder.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's really all you need is the intention.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And then if you want to make it more intricate, if you want to make it more complicated, you absolutely can.
Mhm.
So like for example, I have a handkerchief that was given to me by my husband's grandfather after his grandma passed. So I have the marital tie in mine, because I'm interested in receiving, from both sides, from honoring not only my lineage, but also the lineage of the person that I'm walking through life with.
Mm, that's
So I
beautiful.
have, yeah, little mementos like that.
Mhm.
A brooch from my grandmother,
Oh,
little brooch. I have you're probably not going to be surprised by this, a pine cone to remind me of dad in my times in the north. And then something that I love to add, Charity, to mine, is I love to add a altar stone.
oh, I like that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why.
Mhm.
And I have a couple examples here. So this is a peach moonstone heart that I just absolutely fell in love with, and had to hold.
Yeah.
Um, to me, when I drop into a meditation, when I
Yeah.
drop into that space,
Uh-huh.
I like to hold something. I like to hold the palm stone, just to be able to
Mhm.
help me concentrate. I feel like it keeps me focused.
Mhm.
And whether I'm doing a soft gaze meditation on the flame of the candle, or whether I'm eyes closed and just really kind of, feeling into it,
Yeah.
the palm stone, I think, keeps me centered and kind of calm and quiet for longer.
I love
And so I love to
that.
include that in mine.
Well, it shouldn't be a surprise that I have a heart, a
Yay!
rose quartz heart that I have right next to me as we're doing this interview. So I love that. It's a visual reminder to stay grounded.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Um, so I'm thinking about all of the things that you put on there, and that's answering one of the questions I had. So you have an ancestor altar that is for all of your ancestors, not just like an altar for dad and an altar for grandma and grandpa and an altar for your husband's grandparents. So it's an altar for everybody with
I
long.
do. my main altar is an altar for everyone.
Hmm.
I do have a special altar that I have just for my dad
Hmm.
at the moment, in addition to the main one, but the main one is that's my because I am, I deal with ancestral healing and a
Hmm.
lot of ancestral, that my main one is basically like a more the merrier.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone come and and everyone talk to me kind of a thing. And I like to get messages from all of them. Just because I think it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is something that is a real gift when you're able to tap in and tune in, um, and be able to have the gift of communication with loved ones who've passed on. I It's reminding me, and this is mostly on topic, but um, my dad's mom died when I was very young. She had Alzheimer's,
Mhm.
and I was doing this guided meditation from Rebecca Campbell. I think that's how we met.
I think so too.
And it was a really beautiful one. It was like through the labyrinth. You probably remember that one. And
Mhm.
I remember meeting my grandma, who I never had the opportunity of knowing before she had Alzheimer's, but she was my guide in that meditation, and she gave me the message of, just because I didn't know you or you didn't know me doesn't mean I don't love you. And I'm
Mhm.
here for you. And it was like, oh my gosh, receiving that message um, was so powerful because, you may not have that connection, that physical connection, but the reminder that these loved ones are there, waiting to communicate with you, and having the ability to tap in and listen is such a gift. And that gift from my dad's mother was something that was so unexpected. And I appreciate you for having this conversation with me because I completely forgot about it till now.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that you were able to have that memory come back.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. They do. They love us.
Hmm.
And there are so many of them too. I mean, if you think about it,
Yeah.
the ancestor math, I mean, it doubles every generation, right? You have two parents, you have four
Hmm.
grandparents, it's something like, I'm probably going to butcher this a little bit, but in 14 generations, there are 1,048 ancestors, or it's something like that,
Hmm.
that stand behind you, that stand behind us. Each of us have that.
Yeah.
And they love us and they want to help us.
Hmm.
And because we have free will, we have to ask for them to be able to guide us, to help us, to intercede, to, do any of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really want to stress the importance of, everybody has this opportunity, but you do have to allow for that connection to happen. It's not just going to happen. Although, I don't know, maybe you can explain this because I'm not an expert in this, but there are the random stories of people who are in danger, and then like a pioneer woman would appear to them and say, "Go the other way," or something like that, to prevent a tragedy from happening or something. What do you think of that? Do you know much about these random happenings that people share?
I have heard the stories, I've even seen pictures of like the angel in the clouds kind of a thing, and,
Yeah.
and things like that. Um, I think that absolutely that happens, absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, our angels watch out for us, our ancestors watch out for us, it's up to us as to whether we want to follow that guidance, that there is a level of um intercession, and
Hmm.
then it's our choice. we can keep going. And I feel like they do sometimes kind of smack us around metaphysically a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But ultimately we have the choice.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's amazing. So I would love to know more about your ancestor altar, and do you have like a routine or a special time that you connect? Is there a special, I guess the term would be ritual that you do on a regular basis?
Yes. So on my ancestor altar,
Hmm.
because there are a number of ancestors that I'm working with,
Hmm.
generally I will have water as an offering. And I have a lovely crystal goblet that I put it in. It's actually one that I got from my late aunt. I would always just absolutely love to see these goblets come out at Thanksgiving, at Christmas time. And I was fortunate enough to be bequeathed them when she passed. And so, yes, so one of those has water in it. And then I'll rotate an offering to different members. So for the members of the family that loved beer, then and it just has to be an offering. It doesn't have to be like a stein.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the gesture, it's the intention of it.
Hmm.
And so just a small amount offering.
Hmm.
Or I'll rotate, wine, whatever I know that they liked, then I will rotate that. And then usually some sort of food, like once a week kind of thing. Water stays almost all the time. And
Hmm.
then like a little like tea and cakes is kind of the term that I use, but it can be, any drink, anything that I know that they liked. And I'll offer that once a week. And
Hmm.
then it's taken off overnight so as not to drop, pests or anything like that. Again, the intention is to offer.
Hmm.
Um, and then my quiet time happens between about 9:30 and 10 at night.
Hmm.
That happens to be in my house kind of my quiet time. I don't get up before my husband does, so my quiet time happens in the evening, and I'll just sit and I will meditate. I'll do a candle meditation,
Hmm.
meditate on the flame, hold my palm stone, and just ask, if there are any messages. Does anybody want to come through? Do they have any messages for me? Or maybe I'll share something. Um, my mom's side of the family has a very strong Celtic lineage. And
Hmm.
so I have felt very, very drawn to really learning more about the mythology and more about the stories of especially the Welsh part of the Celtic lineage. And so if I've read something lately, then I'll share, what I've read and ask if maybe they have, do they have any comments? Do they have anything that they would like to share on that note? Or, are there any family stories that maybe I could be pointed to?
Hmm.
Um, I'll share recently my mom was here visiting for a
Hmm.
period of time, and we actually got a chance to sit down, and she relayed family stories that I had never known before. I mean, it's just amazing the kind of stuff that comes out,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
you think, gosh, we've been around each other for decades. How has this never been covered before?
Yeah.
Um, and so I'll share those. Hey, I just recently learned, this sort of thing.
Hmm.
Is there anything that you would like to share about that? And ask if maybe they could send me a sign, if they could send me a dream, if they could, whatever their preferred way of communicating is,
Hmm.
if they would come through in that manner. And so it's just kind of like a conversation.
Wow, that is magical. I love the idea of doing that and having that time for safe sacred self-care and connecting with my ancestors. And um as you were talking about that, I was thinking, wow, this is a whole nother level of doing, say, like genealogy, which my grandpa, he traced our family lines all the way back to like King James,
Oh,
and
wow.
um, it's really really interesting. So I'm like, this is a whole nother level that I never even considered.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Hmm. And learning the stories. Have any big things happen that you were like, oh my gosh, that's me? Or do you have like a feeling that kind of happens when you get confirmation of an idea or a story or anything?
Usually, for me, it's a feeling. It's just kind of a knowing that,
Mhm,
oh, I bet it's this.
mhm,
Um, yeah, it recently, my mom and I were talking about something with my dad's family that there's no longer really anybody that we can check with,
mhm,
but we were talking about something that had happened, a long time ago, and I said, I wonder if, because suddenly I just had this scenario in my mind that felt like maybe that was, you know, true.
mhm,
And unfortunately, there's not really a way to check on it, but that tends to be how it comes through for me. Is
mhm.
just kind of like oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's really really amazing. I never thought to have conversations like that. I know a lot of times I have conversations with my mom and she just like talks to me and I know shortly after I lost her, I received the message that I had to share with family members, and I'm thinking, do they think I'm crazy? I don't know, but I knew that I had to share it, and I love the idea of having regular conversation with them.
Hmm. And sometimes they'll either send gifts,
Hmm.
like I will find feathers around the house.
Hmm.
Most recently we had vacuumed, we had done the rug doctor on the carpets. I mean, there was nothing on those carpets. And I
Hmm.
turned around and I walked down the hall and there was a feather there. And I was like, okay, cool.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you. Yeah, thank you. Um, one of my friends too that has gotten engaged in an ancestor practice
Hmm.
since I've known her. She lost her mom a couple years ago, and she and her sister were talking over something. There was some kind of a "Hey, mom, send me a sign" kind of a conversation, and her sister went to a drawer to get some like document kind of a thing. And
Hmm.
sitting in the drawer on top of the document was a cardinal Christmas ornament that she does not remember placing there. Like this was out of the blue. She thought that this thing had been lost for ages, kind of a thing. And it was actually, so she called my friend, her sister,
Hmm.
and said, "You'll never guess what I just found." Well, it turns out that the cardinal was the sign that my friend asked for. So her mom actually worked through her sister to send her a sign that, yeah,
Wow, that is so incredible. That is so incredible. So I know that you have a gift to share with our audience here. Can you share a little bit about that?
absolutely. So I have a workbook that really kind of guides the listeners through beginning an ancestor practice with an ancestor altar. So it goes through just very, what a basic one would look like. And then
Mhm,
if they want to get more advanced, it goes over some of the things that I've kind of, shown that appear on mine.
mhm,
And then it guides them through some journal questions that are intended to, sit with the altar, and whether it's doing a soft gaze candle meditation or whether it's, if they want to start with the Christmas tree because it's this time of year, and gaze at the lights and do a soft gaze, at the tree and just kind of hone in. It guides them through questions for about 10 days of just, kind of getting to know your lineage or getting to know kind of how stuff comes through in your body, just different questions to be able to meditate on. That I really truly hope will be very, very powerful in setting up ancestor practice.
Gosh, I have chills because I'm just listening to this and thinking, gosh, I know that every person has memories of Christmas or whatever you celebrate. This time of year is so special to all of us, and I know that we all have memories going back way back when to our first memories, and I know that the ancestors on the other side also do. So what a special time to be able to start such a beautiful practice.
Absolutely.
Can't wait
Yes.
to get my hands on
Yes.
that book.
Yes. So just go to my website,
Mhm,
to sacredsageunleashed.com.
mhm.
And all you have to do is sign up for the mailing list, and the workbook will be emailed to you.
So great.
Yes,
And will you tell everybody where they could find you on social?
absolutely. So I am most active on Instagram.
Mhm.
And so at Sacred Sage Unleashed is where you can find me.
Oh, so great. So great. Thank you so much, Bethany. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Charity. I
Oh
hope that you have
my
a
gosh.
magical holiday season.
Thank you. Me too. And I know it's going to be extra special this year, just having that ancestor altar and really having the intention of bringing the family in from all generations. So thank you.
Yes, and I'd love to know how your practice comes out and how it develops over the Christmas season, if you're interested in sharing.
Oh, I would. And also, I would love to encourage everybody who's listening to download the workbook and share pictures in our Facebook group of your ancestor altars as you are building them. If you're taking on the, I don't know what the right word, challenge, but that sounds kind of negative. Like the task of doing something like that this year, it would be a beautiful tradition to start with your family, I think. I think I'm gonna start that as a tradition. Thank you, Bethany.
Absolutely.
And, thank you everybody for, joining us today for this amazing conversation with Bethany, and I look forward to seeing you on our next conversation. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.